I found blue accent colors, especially the more muted shades, help to make a very calming environment to come home to after a job involving working with the public. Hi everyone, it's Carol from Discover Interior Design, and I'm so glad you're here. Well, that nice comment that a viewer left on my video about the color blue is a good example of how colors can make us either feel calm or energetic. So in today's video, we're going to talk about some things to think about when we want to look for colors that either make us feel calm or energetic. So let's get started. So there are a lot of different studies and theories out there about how colors make us feel, but we're going to just narrow it down to some general guidelines that are kind of across the board agreed upon that provide some information about how certain colors help create either an energetic or calming feel to our home and to our rooms. And we are going to be talking about some color theory terms. And so I wanted to take a moment to kind of refresh or review some of these color theory terms that I'll be using when I am describing colors that might be good for a really restful environment, or colors that may be a little bit more stimulating and help create a more energetic look and feel to your rooms. So the first color theory term that we'll talk about is color temperature. And color temperature has to do with how we can describe colors by how we perceive those colors to help us feel, and whether they help us feel warmer or cooler. And colors actually can make us feel warmer or cooler, kind of depending on the color that we're using. But when we're thinking about energy level, whether that's very energetic or very calming, there's a difference between warmer colors and cooler colors. So if we looked at a color wheel, we can see on the right side that there are reds and yellows and oranges, and those colors are considered to be warmer colors. And I think it's because we notice warmer colors sooner than we would maybe cooler colors, that they help us to have some energy and create a more maybe energetic and stimulating environment, especially when we use them in our home. And then on the other side of the color wheel are what we would refer to as the cooler colors. And we can see those colors are purples and blues and green. We notice them after we notice those warm colors. And I think in a way they give us a calmer feeling, maybe because they are kind of in the background a little bit more. And then the second color theory term that we're going to talk about is color value. Color value just has to do with how dark or light a color is. And so a color can be very light on one end of the range. It can also start to become darker and be in kind of that mid-tone range where it's kind of in the middle. Then it can go all the way over to the other end where it's super dark. So that's what color value is, just how light or dark a color is. Then the third color theory term that we're going to be talking about today is color intensity or color saturation. And color intensity has to do with how intense that color looks, how we perceive a color to be either really intense or less intense. And when we're thinking about color intensity, lots of times that has to do with saturation. And colors can range from very saturated, meaning that there's a lot of color in a color, or it's very pure colors. And then it can kind of get toned down a little bit more, where it's more grayed out or kind of almost neutralized. And so when we're talking about color intensity, we're referring to how saturated that color is, but how intense that color will end up being in our home. So when we want to choose colors that are going to provide kind of an energetic and lively look to our home or to our room, we want to look at warmer colors in general. So that's, going back to that orange and red and yellow. And I think part of what's happening there is that we notice warmer colors sooner. So they just create a more vibrant, noticeable color in a room. And so yellow, orange, and red are naturally warm colors. But the other colors that we may think of as cooler colors like blue or green can actually kind of be warmed up a little bit just by adding some yellow to those colors. So if you wanted to use a cooler color but have it be a little bit more vibrant and energetic, you could choose a color like a teal or a yellowy green, because those colors will have more warm colors in them to create a more vibrant, energetic look. And then when we think about color value, two of the values that kind of make a big difference with an energetic look to a room are colors that are either on the lighter side or on the darker side. And we can think of lighter colors like pastels, where they provide a light and bright and fun and cheerful, and we could even say energetic look to a room. And then of course, depending on a white that we use, that can provide also a very energetic look to a room. And then we can also go to the darker side of the value scale and take a look at a deep red or even dark, deep blue or dark green. And then the third color theory term that we talked about is color intensity or color saturation. So the more saturated the color is, the more energetic and stimulating that color will be in one of our rooms. And so it makes sense that we would use maybe a really bright, pure yellow or really bright, vibrant orange or red in a room. But other colors that are very saturated could be a magenta or a really bright pink or even a really vibrant blue or green. When you want to create an energetic look, use colors that are either lighter and brighter or actually very dark, and colors that are more saturated, and colors that are considered warmer colors. And then on the other side, when we want to create a more calming look, we can look to those color theory terms of color temperature, color value, and color saturation and intensity to help us choose colors that will help create that look and feel to our space. So when we are looking at color temperature, we can go back to the color wheel and think of the cooler colors, because automatically cooler colors will help us feel calmer, and especially blues and greens and purples that are on the more blue side and a cooler blue side. So we can think of maybe a bluer green or a bluish purple like cornflower blue or even lavender. And we can even think of a cool pink. And then when we're talking about color value, there are two values that are important to think about when we want to create kind of a calming and restful environment. And those would be colors that are kind of in that mid-tone range all the way up to darker tones. And we can think about pastels again, but kind of going in towards that more mid-tone color combination or to darker tones. And think of softer greens or softer blues. And those colors can still be kind of calming, but at the same time, especially when they're on the lighter side, even kind of cheerful and uplifting. And when we think about darker tones, darker versions of colors, darker values, dark brown or deep dark gray or dark blue or dark green, all of those darker tones can also provide a restful look to a space. And when we take a look at saturation or color intensity, we want to kind of choose colors that are going to be less saturated than very saturated. So the opposite of something that's very energetic. We would want to tone down the colors a little bit so they're just a little bit softer. So good examples of that could be nice blues or purples or greens that are just a little less saturated, and they provide just a quieter feel to a room. And then think about earth tone colors. Earth tone colors in general help us feel kind of calm. And earth tone colors, if we really think about it and think about color theory, earth tones are really just less saturated, less intense, neutralized versions of other colors. So if we really love the color orange, but we don't want to use the orange that's super vibrant because it would provide a very energetic look to a space, what could we use instead to provide the look and feel of orange, but in a calmer way? And we could calm it down all the way to where it almost just becomes a neutral color, a nice brown, beige, or tan. And then when we want to create a calming look, we want to look to those cooler colors and kind of those mid-tones, and also colors that are less saturated, less intense. And another thing that you can think about is when you're working with colors in your room, why not create a balance between energetic and calming colors? Maybe deciding on the main feel that you want for that room, whether it's calm or restful, or whether it's energetic and stimulating. And then contrasting that with other colors in the room that are on the opposite side of that. And because you're using both calming and energetic colors, that creates variety and creates a more interesting look and feel to a room. And then a fourth item that I would add to our list, in addition to color temperature, color value, and also color intensity, is your feelings about color. Because each of us has our individual subjective feelings and associations that we have about colors that we like or don't like. So when we're thinking about color for our homes, we want to make sure that we're using colors that we like and that we think provide a certain feel to a space. And there are studies out there that talk about when you think a certain color will help you feel calm or help you feel energetic, there's a good chance that that color will actually make you feel that way. So it's really important for us to kind of listen to ourselves and what we really like. And when I was getting this video together, it was fun to go back and look at the comments that you left on some of my other videos where I talked about certain colors and how we all have different feelings about colors and how we like them or we don't like them, or how we think certain colors will create a certain feel, or someone else may have an opposite feeling about a color. And it was very interesting to see all these different insights and all these different variations of how we all feel about color. And so going back to the importance of thinking about what colors make you feel calm and what colors make you feel more energized, and going with those colors that make you feel that way. And if you'd like to read those comments in their entirety, I will leave a link to those videos in this video's description. And then when you're out and about this week, take notice of colors that you see and take notice if they are helping you to feel calm or helping you to feel invigorated and energized. And see if you can kind of figure out why they are doing that, why they are creating a certain feeling. And share what you find out in the comments. And I'd love to hear from you what colors help you feel calm and what colors help you feel more energized, and how you may use those colors in your home. So please share your design experience and your insights in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.